I have a piece of paper. I've gone and left my piece of paper in my coat, which is over there. But it's a piece of paper that shows how much you could have bought things for in 1970 compared to what you could buy things for today. And so if you just compare the prices of things and you look at how dramatically prices have fallen and how much less every year your pound buys you. For example, your pound buys you 11% less house this year than it did a year ago. And you look at the rapidly depreciating nature of the pound, then it was interesting in your monologue there, in your interview, you described the pound as hard money. And I would describe it as anything but hard money. It is very soft money because the government prints it when it suits them. It's being rapidly debased. Interest rates don't reflect real inflation. And we're looking at the rapid decline in the purchasing power of your money and thus the rapid decline in the value of your salary. And Milton Friedman used to say inflation is taxation without legislation. And effectively, anything but depending on which measure you use of inflation is currently 6% if you use the old measure. It's probably much higher than that. And interest rates are 0.1% or something. So anything between 6 and 12 or 13% of your salary, Alex, is being sequestered by the government as they debase money to pay for their spiralling costs. And so Bitcoin was invented in reaction to this to provide a currency whose supply, a hard money, an actual hard money, whose supply is finite. It's also a breakthrough new technology. And in reaction to all the printing that's going on, its price keeps on, year on year, it keeps on appreciating. So
is it the case that there's an absolute number of Bitcoins out there? They're not going to make any more, they're not, and so basically it's supply and demand?
Yeah, Bitcoin was designed to be a digital reflection of how gold works. And if you imagine, all the gold in the world, it only increases by how much gets mined every year, which is about 2 or 3%. And quite interestingly, if you look at the growth in gold, it's exactly the same. It reflects population growth. So we have pretty much the same gold per capita as we did 100 or 1,000 years ago. I think that makes it natural money. And Bitcoin was designed to be a digital reflection of that, a digital recreation of that. And so the maximum number of Bitcoins there will ever be will be 21 million. And there are currently about 19 million. So the inflation rate is transparent. We know exactly how many Bitcoins are going to be created over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years because it's all laid out in the code. On the other hand, we have no idea how many pounds are going to be created, how many dollars are created. That's at the whims of some central banker.
But it's not just Bitcoin. There's loads of them out there now. I think someone told me like 14,000 different cryptocurrencies. So, in this crazy new world of digital currencies, and I still can't wrap my head around it, as hard as I try. Look, I'm blonde. I'm struggling. If you were beginning to say, well, I'm interested in this, and your arguments sound plausible, and I want to protect my money, and I want to have an asset that's going to appreciate in value, how do you choose?
Just go with Bitcoin. It was the first, it's got the biggest network, it's the simplest, and there are between 12 and 14,000. A lot of them are just idle computer experiments. A lot of them have functions that aren't necessarily to be money. A lot of them is like money to be used in video games and stuff like that. A lot of them are currencies on which, a bit like an app store, if you think you've got the app store with Apple, and then as a result of the app store, all sorts of people can build apps on top of the app store and release them through the app store. There are some currencies whose purpose is that. But if your purpose is purely to be a savings vehicle and to get to familiarise yourself, then just start with Bitcoin. And if you like it, you can dive in deeper.
So you start off with your own national currency or whatever, and you make the transaction to buy your first Bitcoin or whatever using your own currency. And then after that, how easy is it to turn it back into your own currency for real world purchases if you couldn't do them via Bitcoin?
Well, you don't ever need to. Because it's an entirely new network. It's like going, once you start sending emails, how do you send letters? Well, you can carry on sending letters if you want, but once you're in the digital world of emails, you're kind of there and you never need to leave it. And, I mean, you said in your introduction, I'm sorry to be finicky, but that Tesla's the first company to start accepting Bitcoin. It isn't. Companies have been accepting Bitcoin for over 10 years. And gradually more and more companies are doing it, and you can buy stuff and sell stuff with it. We can do our first transaction right now.
Yeah, I know. You're going to sort of take away my cryptocurrency virginity. Let's do this live on TV.
So I will send you If you get, you've downloaded an
So
app.
I've downloaded this app. I don't know if you can see this here. Here's my phone, and where am I? Somewhere over here. But maybe not over there. But I've downloaded what's called Moon, right? A cryptocurrency
That's just a basic cryptocurrency wallet,
and
yeah.
you can send me.
Yeah, so if you go on your thing, you should have a thing that says send and receive.
Yeah.
So if you press receive.
Put myself in receiving mode, there I am.
And you should get one of those barcode
I've got
things.
a QR code.
A QR code comes up. So I'm just going to I'm going to scan it here on my phone. There we go. And I've got your payment details. And because I really like you, Alexandra, I'm going to send you £1.
A whole pound. How much is this in Bitcoin? I'm about to find out, aren't I? Here we go. So here it is. Here's my QR code, and apparently I am about to receive.
And I've just sent it now.
Here we go. Let's see how good the Wi-Fi is.
You should receive £1.
So just there it is. £1 received. Let's have a little look. £1's now been received, and apparently I now have. So wait for this. I have 0.0003497 Bitcoins.
Yeah, or
it's not
you've
exactly...
got 3,459 sats is what you've got.
Sats.
A sats is a millionth of a Bitcoin, and you that's the sort of the equivalent of pennies, if you like.
Now, can I look forward to this wildly appreciating? And in 20 years' time, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to be, Dominic, you've changed my life. I'm finally on the housing ladder. In fact, I bought a castle.
If you'd bought that if you had that £1 in cryptocurrency 10 years ago, it would be worth £42,000 today.
Wow! And do you project that this is going to carry on an upwards trajectory? Because we hear all the time, don't we, that it's going to collapse, it's going to crash. If more people like me think,
don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
It's not going to appreciate to the extent that it has previously, because it was a breakthrough new technology. It had incredible first mover advantage and so on. But it will continue to appreciate because it's a breakthrough new technology. It's the future. Money is and has always been determined by technology. Ever since we first started using clay tokens in ancient Mesopotamia, and then we baked them inside clay balls, and then we worked out how to handwriting, so debts were recorded on clay ledgers, and then we started using paper money when the printing press was invented, and then as digital technology grew in the 70s, 80s and 90s, we stopped using checks and paper money, we started using digital money, and cryptographic technology is the latest advancement. It's far sounder than the pound in your pocket. It is inevitable. It is our destiny.
I know it is.
The other thing I would point out, it is you don't have to. You drive a car. You don't understand how.
So I don't understand normal money, and I still somehow manage to spend that like it's going out of fashion.
And what you have to understand is the internet is a borderless medium, and Bitcoin is money for the internet. So, if, for example, I could send that £1 to somebody in wherever, Timbuktu, if I wanted to, and they would receive £1 in Bitcoin. It is a borderless money, and if I wanted to send £1, a micropayment like that, to somebody in Timbuktu via HSBC, it would cost me probably £30. It would take 3 days. It's just not an effective system of money for the internet. Whereas Bitcoin is, and that's what it's designed for. It is money for the internet.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.